Hey friends, today's topic is controller sensitivity in Destiny 2. My daily driver controller recently died on me, so I had to get the upgraded version since it's no longer made. I used the Nacon Revolution X Unlimited, and I'll hit you with a full review in the future, but for now I want to talk about the sensitivity experiment. So this controller has Hall effect sticks. Could be buzzword, but essentially it just feels more precise and sensitive. I normally play at 8 sensitivity, and with this controller it felt easier to aim, even though my hands aren't really used to holding that controller yet. So I thought, maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe I can play at, say, 14 sensitivity and still make it work. So I tried it for 2 days. I just practiced all day. I played a lot of PvE. I played a lot of PvP. It was apparent when I started matching very high skill opponents that even though I had a faster sensitivity, my aim was slower. Because Destiny is not a game that's played in a no-cover octagon. There's cover. It's about getting your crosshair as fast as possible to a future gunfight, and if you have too high of sensitivity, you will over-aim, and then you will have to ratchet your aim to get it where it needs to be, and that's so much slower than just being confident with a lower sense and doing it in one fluid motion. Does that make sense? The background gameplay right now shows 12 sensitivity. Since I couldn't do 14, I dropped it down to 12, and it felt like I was hitting. I was even able to throw in the last word, and my game sense was able to take me very far, even though my aim still wasn't confident, and you can very clearly see I'm still over-aiming with 12. So I played that for 2 weeks straight. I even hit some banger gameplays, and I'll post those later. But then I switched back to 8, and it was even better. I was even more precise than before. Not only was I able to get the crosshair where I needed even faster than 12, I was able to shoot inanimate objects like lightning grenades off the wall faster than anybody else around me. I mean, I guess that's not saying much with no SBMM or SBMM and lobby balancing, but you know what I mean. There's a reason controller players don't do that frequently, is because it's hard and it's difficult and effortful. Now, I've broken down aiming in this game multiple times, but I'm going to do it again for posterity. In my opinion, there are 3 types of Destiny 2 aimers. There's number 1, what I am, a hip-fire turret. We use low to medium sense for precise hip-fire and easier recoil control. Not that you can't do that on high sense, but it feels a lot easier on low sense. Then we have the next category, which is M&K at home. You're basically trying to replicate what mouse and keyboard players are doing by having the option to backslide, or just slide away from danger faster. So you're using your hipfire high sense to slide away. Then what they do is they turn their aim down sight sensitivity really low, like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, so that when they're actually in a duel aiming down sights, it artificially feels like 6, 7, 8 sensitivity. Therefore, you can be confident and accurate. Then the third type of aimer, I used to joke and say that this is a cheater, but there are special cases to play 20 cents without changing the aim down sights modifier. For example, you could use Stasis Titan with Lion Rampant exotic boots and Final Warning exotic sidearm, and you don't really have to aim down sights, but you still want the fast sensitivity to use your Behemoth melee and fly away. And also on controller, the aim down sights portion of Final Warning might register better than it does on mouse and keyboard. And the same could be said about Drang. Like the M&K at home players, instead of using last word, they're going to struggle with it from the hip, right? Because it's too fast. Well, they could just throw on Drang and only aim down sights with Drang whenever they're fighting somebody, and Drang's pretty much as good as last word. So there are alternatives. It just depends what you like. For the hipfire turrets, it's last word, it's Deadman Tail, it's BXR Battler. Those weapons are amazing. And in this last decade of playing Destiny 2, I've shared a fire team with many Halo X pros that do play a lower sensitivity, but keep in mind that they're built from the ground up playing Halo, winning Halo tournaments, so that is what they know. Whereas I kind of grew up playing Destiny 2 and doing some crazy stuff in this game, as you can see from my channel backlog. So, in my opinion, the old head idea of low is the best might not be true in Destiny, because there's just so many more variables than a well-balanced arena shooter. I think the newer gen M&K at home style of play has the right idea because the skill ceiling is very high. you can use something like a pellet shotgun from the hip or ADS when you want to be more precise. And because you literally turn faster with 0 time to kill, you can clutch up more often than an 8 sensitivity player. Also, you don't have to play Hunter because you don't need the crutch of a dodge to live and get out of danger. You could play Titan with a barricade, and since you're able to backslide so quickly, you don't necessarily need the evasive maneuver. Think about even a basic frag grenade. If you have higher sensitivity, or if you actually play mouse and keyboard, you can flick and bounce the grenade off a wall the exact way it needs to be to delay detonate when you anticipate somebody walking into it, right? A lot of words there, but essentially I'm saying on a slow sense, even though I know it's possible to bounce a grenade off a surface, I know that my crosshair cannot physically get where it needs to be fast enough, so that play is just invalid. Whereas on mouse and keyboard, it instantly comes to me and I can instantly execute. I was feeling a lot of moments like that on 14 sensitivity where I'm like, damn, this shit's addicting. But ultimately, I think I'm going to stay at 8 sensitivity because it really just comes down to I like seeing yellow numbers with my hipfire weapons. And there's a case to be made that if I main speed boots like Lucky Pants or Stompies or the new competitive armor set bonus, that I'm going to lower my sensitivity even more because an important facet of aiming in Destiny, using enhanced distance slide to prime your turn so that by the time you're leaving cover with your slide and getting into your gunfight, your crosshair is exactly where it needs to be. Since your slide is longer, you can play a lower sensitivity, but use that look acceleration so your crosshair is still getting where it needs to be. So yeah, there's a case to be made that I even drop it down to 6, and maybe I feel even more accurate and try some unwieldy weapons that take even more recoil control. Anyway, friends, commuters, I hope you got where you needed to be safely. I hope you enjoyed this rant about controller sensitivity.